Hey, welcome to Digging into the Bible. My name is Jim Barnard. This is a production of Tiller Coaching. All right, well, it's day 17. Thank you for joining me. Yesterday, we saw how the apostles had recognition that the needs of the community were not being met appropriately. And so they gathered everyone together and they appointed new leaders that would be focused solely on meeting people's needs, which was obviously a big goal for the first church. And they had 7 people that they brought forward and they appointed as deacons. And one of those men, his name was Stephen. We're going to be featuring him today and actually focusing on him for the next 4 days beyond this. So we're going to get a lot of Stephen. With that as the backdrop, let's go ahead and dig in. This is Acts chapter 6, starting at verse 8. And Stephen, full of grace and power, was doing great wonders and signs among the people. Then some of those who belonged to the synagogue of the freedmen, as it was called, and of the Cyrenians, and of the Alexandrians, and of those from Cilicia and Asia, rose up and disputed with Stephen. But they could not withstand the wisdom and the spirit with which he was speaking. Then they secretly instigated men who said, "We have heard him speak blasphemous words against Moses and God." And they stirred up the people and the elders and the scribes, and they came upon him and seized him and brought him before the council. And they set up false witnesses who said, "This man never ceases to speak words against this holy place and the law. For we have heard him say that this Jesus of Nazareth will destroy this place and will change the customs that Moses delivered to us." And gazing at him, all who sat in the council saw that his face was like the face of an angel. All right, so yesterday when Luke listed off these 7 men that were being appointed as deacons, he featured just a little bit extra on Stephen. He said about Stephen, he was a man full of faith and of the Holy Spirit. And isn't it funny that these leaders hate the same exact thing that Luke is calling out about him? It says in verse 10, "But they could not withstand the wisdom and the spirit with which he was speaking." Ugh! Don't you just hate it when people speak with wisdom? Just gross, disgusting, yuck. I mean, obviously, they hate his wisdom because they feel threatened by his wisdom. And it's just sad to me because 2 days ago in our study, when we were in Acts 5, we had this Pharisee, a Pharisee of all men, said something really beautiful, really bold. He stood up and he said these 2 verses 38 and 39. "So in the present case, I tell you, keep away from these men and let them alone. For if this plan or this undertaking is of man, it will fail. But if it is of God, you will not be able to overthrow them. You might even be found opposing God." His warning is so spot on. It is full of wisdom. The fact that if it's not of God, it's going to flame out. We don't have to do all this stuff. We don't have to oppose them. It'll just take care of itself. But if you oppose them and they are doing God's work, you're going to be opposing God. It's not worth it. But these leaders, they don't care. They hate his wisdom. They're bringing these manufactured false witnesses against him. Stephen's going to have a council hearing where he's going to have to step up and be bold. And the good news is that Stephen is absolutely up to the task. My favorite part by far of this section is this last verse 15, where it says, "And gazing at him, all who sat in the council saw that his face was like the face of an angel." I mean, that's so awesome. I don't take that sentence as meaning well, they just thought he was a good-looking man, or they were kind of turned on by him. No, they saw a man who was doing exactly what we saw again 2 days ago in chapter 5. This is verse 41, and this is about the apostles. "When they left the presence of the council, rejoicing that they were counted worthy to suffer dishonor for the name." They left the council and they rejoiced that they were counted worthy to suffer dishonor for the name. That's what I believe Stephen is doing. And, he's sitting there with the face of an angel, for how much he's rejoicing, what is happening, and honestly, what's about to happen, because it's going to get ugly for him. All right, well, that's enough for today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow as we move on to Acts chapter 7. I'll see you then.